Hello, students. Good morning to all. Once again, we all are here, and I welcome you in the e learning class. From past a few days, we are trying to complete an extract from the autobiography of Nelson Mandela, that is Long Walk to Freedom. In our last videos, we have tried to cover some parts of this autobiography, and in our last class, I let you know what is the perception of courage for Nelson Mandela. His definition is quite different from rest of the people. He says courage is not the absence of fear, but actually it is the triumph over it. It means डर के आगे जीत है. You all have heard the common phrase in your TV. Further, he says no one is born hating another person because of the color of his skin or his background or his religion. Dear students, here he says when a child is born, when a newborn baby takes birth, have you ever experienced that a child hates another child because of his color? Of course not. Dear students, it is commonly said that child is the second form of the God on this earth. And he does not know why to hate with the other black person, why to hate another person who has different religion. Have you ever seen a Hindu child resist himself to share his food with a Muslim one? Or have you seen any white child hating the black one because of his color? Of course not. They do not know what is the feeling of hatredness, what is the feeling of segregation, why we segregate each other, why we discriminate each other because of their color, caste, and creed, and so on. These are the social evils. These are the evils in our society. These are taught to us. We do not have these naturally. These are not the part of our trait. These are the evils that imposed on us. They are taught to us. Further, he says people must learn to hate, and if they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love. For love comes more naturally to the human heart than its opposite. Dear students, here he wants to say we all are the children of that Almighty. There is one creator of everyone, whether they are Indian, whether they are Chinese, whether they are Africans, or so on. It doesn't matter what is his color, or what is his religion, or what is his caste. Dear students, we all are inherited some basic qualities from our parents. As science says, we got some qualities from our parents. Genetics says so. That's why if God is full of love, full of humanity, full of happiness, then don't you think that it is a duty of their children that they should also spread the light of happiness, the feeling of goodness, humanity, sympathy, love in the whole world? We should all ignite the world with the pious feelings. It is our duty to create the happy environment in the whole world, as we all are the children of that Almighty God. He says, love is more natural to us, and man is not born to hate others. Actually, he is taught to hate to others from one or another reason. And if we can learn to hate, then what is the problem to learn to love with each other, as it comes more naturally to our heart? Okay. Further, he says, even in the grimmest times in prison, when my comrades and I were pushed to our limits, I would see a glimmer of humanity in one of the guards. Perhaps just for a second, but it was enough to reassure me, keep me going. Here an expression is used here, pushed to our limits. It means we were tortured enough that further than that we were not able to bear any pain or any other exploitation or any other operation. He says in our hard times when we were in prison, when I was in prison with my comrades, with my friends who were indulged themselves in this struggle, and we were tortured, we were punished, we were uh, given punishments, and there was no other limit to face any other pain. We were tortured enough. It was the time when I saw a glimmer of humanity. Dear students, one more phrase is used here, glimmer of humanity. And in our first or either in first or second video, I told you that some phrases in column A which have the best possible meaning in column B, where I told you meaning of glimmer of humanity. That means a sign of human feelings that could be goodness, kindness, pity, justice, or etc. The same thing he says here, when we were being punished by the whites, then I could see the feeling of sympathy towards us in the prison, and it was a feeling of sympathy, it was the feeling of love, it was a feeling of pity towards us by a white person. And it was the time when I reassured myself that I am going on a right path. It means man's goodness is a flame. Please try to understand the line. Man's goodness is a flame that can be hidden but never extinguished. It means we all are full of that good qualities that can be hidden, but that flame of goodness can never be extinguished because of any pain, because of any oppression, because of any dominance. Okay. Further than that, oral comprehensions are given here. 5 oral comprehensions are given. Hopefully, you all are able to write their answers your own, and answers should not exceed 30 to 40 words. Later on, he says, in life, every man has twin obligations. Dear students, obligation is noun here. Twin means dual. Every person in this world has dual responsibilities, or you can say it is a state of having to do something because it is a law or duty, or something that is required to do, that means obligation. Here he says every man has to an obligation to his family, to his parents, to his wife and children, and he has an obligation to his people, his community, his country. Hopefully, the lines are clear to you. Here, he wants to say in every nation, in every country, everyone has dual responsibilities. As you can see in your family, if your father or mother is working in a school or working in a bank, of course, they are responsible for their bank, for their school, as they are doing their jobs with their best efforts. On the other hand, they are also responsible for you, for your siblings, for your grandparents as well. It means every person, it doesn't matter in which country they are living, every person has to serve both of his obligations. One towards his family, being a son, being a father, being a child, being a wife, so on. And another one is towards his country, towards his nation, towards his people and society. Further, he says, in a civil and he says, uh, in a civil and humane society. Humane means where respect is given to all the good human qualities, that is humane society. Each man is able to fulfill those obligations according to his inclination and abilities. Inclination means your tendency, your opinions, your desires, or your natural tendencies of behavior and abilities. Here he says if a person in a civil society, if a country is free where all people have equal rights, where they have equal opportunities, they can fulfill both of these obligations as per their own choices, as per their own tendencies, and as per their abilities. There is no pressure on them, and there is no burden over them. But in a country like South Africa, it was almost impossible for a man of my birth and color to fulfill both of these obligations. He says a person can fulfill his both obligations in a free nation where all people are liberal, where they have freedom, where they have equal opportunities. But in South Africa, the black people were deprived from their basic rights. Some education institutions were banned for them. They were not allowed to get education of their own choice. Even they were deprived to get job of to earn their livelihood as per their abilities. He says, but in a country like South Africa, where we all are bounded, it is quite difficult for a man of my birth. My birth means a man who takes birth in my color, in my community. It is quite difficult for us to fulfill, to serve, to discharge both of these duties. And in South Africa, a man of color who attempted to live as a human being was punished and isolated. And if a person tries to fulfill his discharge his duties, then of course he was deprived, he was punished, and he sent away in isolation. He was not allowed to serve his both obligations. In South Africa, a man who tried to fulfill his duty to his people was inevitably ripped from his family and his home and was forced to live a life apart, a twilight existence of secrecy and rebellion. Dear students, here a word is twilight. Twilight is a noun that means the soft glowing light from sky when sun is below the horizon caused by the reflection of the sun's rays from the atmosphere, or you can say half light when something is not clear, something is hazy, that is twilight. As something is visible to you in this picture, this is a scene of twilight, half light. When something is here in the picture, we can see some dome or some building is here, but it is not clear because of the hazy light, because soft glowing light, because sun is not shining brightly, that is twilight. Okay, in one more picture you can see a man is here, but his face is not visible to us. We cannot recognize who the person is, who is enjoying this nature, who is enjoying this scenic beauty. Okay, this is twilight. Dear students, further we will discuss in our next class. Till then, thank you, goodbye.